All right, so the first step in fleshing out this tune, so what, is we really have to get the head of the tune learned well. And so this tune is a little bit different in the sense that the melody really comes from the left hand. So it's that left hand bass line that is really, 85, 90% of what's going on in this song as the melody. So I always like to stress practicing with a metronome, especially in tunes that are going to have a lot of eighth note lines playing. So you should always be using a metronome. You won't always be seeing me using a metronome here because I'm going to try to slow it down and make it very obvious and evident as to what's going on. But in general, always practice with a metronome. So that the first part of this song that we have to break down is that left-hand line. So the melody in the left hand is, all right? And that's going to happen over and over again, and then it's going to modulate up a half step. It's going to go up one half step. And that's pretty much the majority of the tune in terms of the melody. The right hand has that chord sequence that we're going to talk about in a second. So let's isolate that melody quickly in the left hand and talk about what the fingering should be so that it can be played very smoothly and without any sort of hiccups or pauses. So the left hand fingering that I really like is 5, 2, 1. 5, 2, 1, and then you're going to cross over 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 5. So let's look at that slowly. 5, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 5. Now I'm going to play that smoothly. And the last time the bass line does something a little bit different, the fourth time. All right? So now the right hand is going to add in those gaps where the left hand is resting. And the chord sequence, we're going to talk in a little bit about how the chords in this song are structured, but this voicing is really built off of fourths. So if you notice, the melody in the right hand, this B going to the A, is voiced as a third right here, but then fourths all the rest of the way down. So between G down to D is a fourth, D down to A is a fourth, A down to E is a fourth. And that whole thing just slides down the scale that we're going to talk about momentarily. Okay? So going very slowly, here's the first phrase of this melody, of this song. And the fingering in the right hand, the fingering in this chord, this harmony that's happening here is also somewhat important as well. So if you notice, I'm using in my right hand 5, 3, 1. In the left hand I'm using 1 and 3. And the reason I'm using this particular fingering is so that I can sort of just slide down without having to pick my hand up at all. So 5, 3, 1, and the left hand 1, 3 is just moving down to 4, 2, 1 in the right hand, 1, 4 in the left. So let's put it together and listen to the first 8 bars of this song. Okay, and then that's going to repeat. So that first 8 bars repeats again, same exact thing. That's bars 9 through 16. And then what happens on the bridge, the third set of 8 bars, is the entire song just modulates. It moves up one half step. So whereas before we're playing in this D minor region, all these white notes making up D Dorian, which we're going to talk about, it just modulates up a half step to E flat. E flat Dorian. So we can take that same bass line, which was this, and now we're going to move it up one half step. Every single note in that bass line gets bumped up one half step. All right, and the same thing that happened here in the chord sequence with the right hand and the left hand, that's also going to move up one half step. So everything that was here moves up one half step, and that same progression happens up the half step. So the third 8 bars of this song are going to sound like this. Okay? And then what happens is we've got the tune pretty much memorized at this point because the last 8 bars, so it's an 8-8-8-8, the way the song is, A-A-B-A, are going to move back down to that D minor region. So we're going right back to the first thing that we ever learned on the song. This section just comes back. And you notice in that bass line, the last time that phrase happens, I'm doing a little bit of a grace note, which is something the bass player on the record plays. Okay? So let's just quickly, before I move any further along, let's just look at the fingering in the left hand when it modulates up to the E flat minor area. So the same fingering that I used in the D minor area, in the A section. Remember that was 5, 2, 1, and then crossover 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 5. Is going to work just as well up the half step. So 5, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 5. And then your left hand jumps up and finds this chorded progression. Now again, just so we can be clear on everything, that melody is really happening up in this top note, this top voice. Okay? And it's stacked first and a third, but then fourths, perfect fourths all the way down. So A flat down a fourth is E flat, B flat down a fourth is B flat down a fourth is F. And that shape moves down in whole steps. Okay? And that's pretty much the song. You should, at that point, understand at least how to memorize it. It's 8 bars of the D minor sequence, another 8 bars of the D minor sequence. The entire sequence moves up to E flat minor, the exact same sequence, up a half step. That's 8 bars, and then it comes back down to the original D minor sequence for another 8 bars, and that's the complete tune. So, fingering is very important, making sure that you play with the metronome and making sure that you have the correct fingering when you go up and you play that, or the right hand and left hand chords. This is more of a blowing piece as opposed to a solo piano piece. And what I mean by that is it's not really the kind of piano repertoire that you would play on a solo piano gig if you're entertaining, whether it be cocktail music or with something that like a jazz standard that a lot of people might know. What I mean by a blowing piece is that this is going to be a song that's really geared towards more of an improvisation vehicle. It's a song that was sort of built so that the soloist can improvise. And so the very first thing that we're going to talk about in terms of how to get through that, how to begin improvising, is where this song, where this tune is based in terms of the harmony that it's rooted in. Okay, so we alluded to that a little bit. We alluded to the fact that it's a minor mode, it's Dorian. Dorian is a minor mode, but we haven't really talked too much yet about what Dorian means. So I suggest the first thing you do is get this melody memorized. Melody really coming from the left hand. Get that chord sequence. And up again in the half step. Get that down. Fairly easy tune to memorize. And when you have that down, we'll rejoin and we'll talk about breaking down some of the theory, understanding where the theory for the song comes from, and how to get into the improvisation elements of playing over this tune, So What?